Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to daily current affairs session. So these are the articles that we are going to cover of yesterday as well as today. Yesterday we don't have a session, that's why we will be covering yesterday's articles as well as today's articles, right? First one, Preston curve. So this is the first article. This is part of, you can take social issues. Then next article, sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease, which is part of science and technology. Third one, post harvest losses. So this is part of agriculture. Then Sarus crane. This is part of environment as species, like species and all, animal as well as what you call bird species are very important for us as part of environment. Then about Nota. This is part of polity. Then world's largest grain storage plan. This is again part of agriculture, a very important article. A few months back we have discussed this, but again there was a first meeting of this committee. That's why this was there in article in the Press Information Bureau. Next one, international health regulations. So this is part of again social issues. Social issues, if the questions come, mostly they come from the current affairs only. So you need to be aware about the basics as well as the current affairs, whatever exam you write. Then global purchasing power parity. So this is part of economics. Economics, right? So these are the 8 articles that we are going to cover today, and then some factual pointers and practice questions. Yeah, very good evening Malini and Keshav. There was a question from a student. I have been pursuing my bachelor's in part-time mode. Am I eligible to take admission in IITs and NITs for MTech? Yes, you can take Ram Thiru. You can also connect to the ACE concerned team. So they will explain you the counseling teams, right? Yes, with my knowledge, yes, you are eligible, right? Even if it is a distant education or any degree, it is eligible for do the MTech, right? So these are the articles that we are going to cover today. First one, Preston curve. This was in the news in the Hindu, yesterday's newspaper. There was a just with the headline, what does the Preston curve postulate says? So it is like a theory. You need to understand the concept. There is no fact as such. Fact is just whose Preston, that is enough. So you need to know what actually this curve says, right? So we'll discuss this. If you have any doubts, you can ask here in the comment section, right? Yeah. So what is this Preston curve says? It was first, we will see the fact that who has introduced this. This was introduced by Samuel H. Preston. So Preston itself, the curve name itself is a person who has invented or discovered this or proposed this, right, in 1975. And what is this curve? This is a relation between, like any curve has x and y axis and it defines the relation. So this is the area which defines the relation between two indices or two different dimensions, right? But usually it is x and y, but now we need to know what actually these are. This is the relation between life expectancy and per capita income. So you need to also understand these two things. Before knowing Preston curve, you need to understand what actually is the life expectancy, and also you need to know about the per capita income, right? So life expectancy means at the time of a birth of any person for that particular country, what is the expected life of the particular person, like 70 years, 65 years. So how many years that particular person will be able to live in general case, like unlike taking the accident specific cases, on an average for a country, what is the time period or what is the duration in terms of year, how many years that particular person will live on earth. That is called as a life expectancy. And per capita income. Per capita income means like GDP. You all know GDP, we have discussed many times. The total production that has been happened in a country divided by population. So per person, how much production can be done in a particular year, right? So based on that particular individual, how much he will or she will contribute to the GDP in a year. So that is called as the per capita income. So if per capita income is more, that means GDP is more and then production is also more. So individual contribution for the country's growth is also high, right? So these two dimensions you need to understand, life expectancy and per capita income. I hope this is clear. A very good evening, Sahana. I hope these two dimensions are clear. Now this Preston says, or Preston curve says, this life expectancy at birth is affected by the per capita income of a country. He says that if there is a higher per capita income, for example, in our country, 1000 rupees a person is producing, like he is contributing for the production of 1000 rupees in that particular year. And if in another country, take example of USA, that particular person, single individual in USA is contributing for the growth of or production of 5000 rupees. That means what? Per capita income of USA is higher than India, right? So which country is giving more per capita income, those countries' life expectancy at birth will be higher. So it is a direct proportion. He says that whichever country is having higher per capita income, whoever is producing more, it also leads to higher life expectancy at birth, right? So for example, life expectancy of India is 67 years. So any person on an average will live in India for 67 years. Whereas in USA, it says that it is much higher, 70 years, 72 years. Why? The reason is, as the country is having more growth, they were able to cure the disease, the weather will be good, the environment will be good, whatever the life requirements are good in this particular countries, right? So indirectly says that developed countries life expectancy at birth is higher. But this was criticized by many. It is not the case. Life expectancy of many developed countries are lesser than developing countries. Like India is having around 70-71 years, but many of the developed countries like Scandinavian countries and all, their life expectancy is 65-63, even Japan also, right? This is because there are other factors also, not just about the per capita income. There are many things like what type of food they eat, is there obesity, there are heart disease. So there are a number of factors. You cannot directly say that per capita income is the sole one which will increase the life expectancy. So there is a criticism also. Fine. So this is the Preston curve. So they may ask you what actually is a Preston curve. It is nothing but the direct relationship between life expectancy at birth with relation to the per capita income of a country. So this is what it tells, right? And for developing countries, the curve also talks about the developing countries. So it says that whenever the country starts growing, developing countries, say for example, India's per capita is 1000 rupees and it is growing, 2000, 3000, 4000, it is growing. So till certain level, life expectancy at birth will increase. From 70 till 75 it will reach. But after that it can't reach. So this is the peak. Even if it is increasing 10,000 per capita, it cannot go beyond certain level, 75, 76, because naturally humans will not be able to live beyond certain age. So for developing countries, the curve says that only until certain growth there will be higher life expectancy, but after that there is no possibility because naturally humans cannot live for more years, right? So this is the condition of the Preston curve. Is this clear? You need to understand who has proposed this and what is the elements, what are the indicators that they have taken. This too may be asked in the exam in statement based, and who proposed this, that also important. And for developing countries, how it is impacted or how it is estimated, right? Any doubts in this? Any doubts? Please do respond, because this is a little bit conceptual. So I have to know whether you are clear with the concept or not. If you're clear, I'll move ahead with the next article, else I'll explain if you have still any query related to this. Okay, let's move to the next article, that is sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease. This also we have discussed some few months back. But yes, that's the beauty of current affairs. If you are regularly following, regularly preparing, so it will be easy for you to answer, right? Yeah. So the context is Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, right, which is under Ministry of Health, has invited expression of interest from eligible organizations. That means it is proposing for certain organizations who will come forward and can commercialize the medicine called as hydroxyurea. So it is the context, yeah, great Malini, thank you. So the context is the ICMR has asking the organizations to commercially produce a hydroxyurea, the medication, right? So we will see, we will understand what is this hydroxyurea, what is sickle cell disease. So this is a medicine for managing or curing the sickle cell disease. This medication is used. Now ICMR is want to produce in a commercial manner to tackle sickle cell disease. So that is the context. We will now discuss what actually is a sickle cell disease, and we will see what is the present condition in India, then how hydroxyurea is important, what is the existing case, what we need to do in the future, right? So all these things we will discuss. Any type of question can be possible from this particular disease. So it is a very important one to be understood, right? First, let's understand what actually is a sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia. You all know our blood has RBC, red blood cells, and white blood cells, and the normal condition, the shape of RBC are like this, right? And the blood will flow in a normal manner, right? So RBC, if there is a proper normal condition like within this shape, the blood will properly flow and the oxygen is carried by hemoglobin, right, through RBC in the blood to all the organization in normal case, right? But because of sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease, this is a genetical disorder. In certain cases, the genes are like we have a DNA. If there is a difference in particular gene, this RBCs will be in this shape, sickle. So sickle you all know, right? So this is the sickle shape. And RBCs which are usually to be oval shape, it will be like this. And then the blood flow will not be proper because of blocking and all. This RBCs block and the proper flow of oxygen is not possible through the blood for the different parts of the body. So that condition is called as the sickle cell disease, right? So this is caused due to genetic disorder. This is a genetical disorder that you need to know. And also you need to know what will happen because of sickle cell anemia. Because of the different shape of RBCs, there is no proper supply of oxygen from blood to different parts of the body. It may also lead to death, right? So the breathing will be difficult because oxygen has to be transferred to all the organs in the body. So because of this genetical mutation in the sickle cell, it may lead to even death also, right? So that is called as a sickle cell anemia. Now what are the symptoms? Chronic anemia. So chronic anemia means lack of oxygen supply to different organs, and then painful episodes. So the person will feel the back pain, the different parts of the body, he or she will feel pain because lack of oxygen supply in those parts, right? And then delayed growth and puberty. So delayed growth among the youth, or you can say the children. All these are symptoms of sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia. Now, what is the treatment for this disease? What is the treatment for this particular disease? As the blood is the one which is not proper because of this RBCs, the sickle shape, we need to transfuse the blood. So if we change or if we transfuse the blood frequently, then yes, it can be cured because the issue is within the blood itself. So blood transfusion is one type of what you call treatment, and then hydroxyurea. Now this will be important. This is the context what ICMR is proposing. So this is the medication. This medication is also being worked with high doses like 200 mg, 500 mg. This is also one of the medication for the sickle cell disease. Also, there is a treatment called stem cell therapy. So we have a stem cells in our bone marrow. So those cells has to be tissues and cells has to be transfused with the proper ones. So these are the three available treatments for the sickle cell disease, right? Now, what is the National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Program? This is a very important because India is aiming to eliminate sickle cell anemia by 2047. So this particular scheme aims to eliminate the sickle cell anemia by 2047, and it was launched in the last year budget. So very recent one, it was launched in last year 2023 budget itself, right? So this is the objective, and this aims to create awareness and screen, because most of the times the people don't go to the screening and all because of lack of monetary support. So this disease persists and it may lead to death also. Now government is aiming to screen all the people. So by taking the blood and all, blood test, so they will come to know which people are suffering from this disease, and they can, if it is an initial stages, it is always easy for us to cure that, right? So for the age of people, for the age of 0 to 40 years of child as well as adults, they are going to conduct the screening. Screening means just to take the blood and the blood samples, and then they want to test against this disease, right? So these are the objectives of National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Program. This is also very, very important. Now, India is having the third largest number of sickle cell anemia disease. So after Nigeria as well as Democratic Republic of Congo, both are in African continent, after these two countries, India is having the highest burden of sickle cell anemia disease. This is also one important fact. Studies also suggest that 15,000 to 25,000 babies every year born with the sickle cell disease, because it is a genetic disease. From parents it will shift to the children. So every year approximately 20,000 babies are being born with this sickle cell anemia disease, right? And sickle cell anemia disease is one of the disabilities. Like we have a Disabilities Act, persons with disabilities, we have number of disabilities recognized, and under that sickle cell disease is also one of the disabilities recognized by the government under Right to Disabilities Act 2016, right? So this is also one of the 21 disease recognized as a disability by the government, right, through Parliament Act. Fine. So you understood all the facts now. Now coming to the context that ICMR is promoting the hydroxyurea medicine for a commercial production. Why the issue? As of now, we have a hydroxyurea medication of 500 mg and 200 mg, right? And this is a higher dose. This can be used for adults only, the people whose age is 18 and above. And for children less than 18 or 6 years and all, these doses will be higher. So it will have a side effects and also it may lead to death. Now what is happening? We are what you call breaking the tablet. So if the tablet is this size, half is broken and then half is given to the children, because to reduce the dose. There is no production of at 50 mg, 25 mg, 30 mg. So there is no production of these things commercially. That's why children are struggling because of this lack of presence of producing the lesser dose, right? So that's why the ICMR has proposed for pediatric patients, that is for children, they have encouraging to produce commercially of this sickle hydroxyurea with a lesser dose. So this is what the agreement has been released. So it is encouraging, come forward and produce, so we are going to support you. So this is what it has happened. Yes, so all these things we have discussed. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? So we have seen what actually is a sickle cell disease, right? So the context is ICMR is proposing the commercial production of hydroxyurea with a lesser dose. So we have seen sickle cell disease, what is actually how it happens and all. You need to understand treatment also, yes, we have seen. And the National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Program also we have seen. This is also very important. The target year and the target age when it was launched, all these things are important. And then it was recognized one of the disease under Disabilities Act. And finally about hydroxyurea, what is the existing condition, what ICMR is proposing to do, right? I hope this is clear. Okay, next one, if you have any doubts, please do let me know in the comment section. Next one, a very small article, post-harvest losses. The data is important here. The article talks about a little bit data rather than about the context and all. We have a data which is important for our exam. But without knowing what is the issue and all, if you by heart, you won't be able to remember, right? The context is Indian Council for Research on International Economic Relations. So it is a private autonomous organization, has released a report related to the post-harvest losses. It has given some data that is important. Now you need to understand what actually is a post-harvest losses. Post-harvest losses are those agriculture losses which happens after harvesting of the crop. So you need to sow the seeds and then the plantation will grow and then you need to maintain water, all these things, and finally after 3 months you will harvest, right, the crop, either tomatoes or groundnut, whatever may be. After harvesting, you need lot of things to do. You need treatment, you need storage, right, like cold storage and all. You need to transport to the consumers. So in this time span, after harvest till it reaches to the consumer, after harvest till it reaches the consumer. In this time period, whatever are the losses, wastage, those are called as the post-harvest losses. So this is of the wastage between harvest, after harvest, and then reaching to the consumer. In between this, if there is a wastage, that is called as post-harvest losses, right? So the report says that India is having high amount of post-harvest losses. The report said that it is having high harvest losses, right? So let's understand this, why there is a high amount of losses. This is also important. That too with the data. We have a proper data for that, right? So food grain production in India at present with the available data as of 2022-23. As of, so until March 31, 2023, we have a data, right? So it says that India's total food production, this is a very important one, they will ask you in the exam. What is the total amount of food grain production in India? 330.5 million metric tons, right? This is the amount that we are producing, fine? Only food grain production. Also we are producing horticulture production. Horticulture means plantation crop, like fruits, vegetables, all these comes under the horticulture. So we are, alone we are producing 330.5 million metric tons of food grains, and also we are producing 355.25 million metric tons of horticulture. That means together approximately 700 million metric tons production is happening in India every year, every single year. But our storage is only 219.4 million metric tons as of 2021. Our total production is 700 approximately, but storage is only 220 million metric tons. That means approximately 500 million metric tons of food is not having any storage. In case of any volatility, we don't have any storage. So it will lead to the huge wastage, right? Whatever the production is there, at least we need to have that amount of storage in India, but that is not the case. So these numbers are very important for you to justify answers, as well as they may ask you in the objective questions as well, right? So this is the existing condition of India. Now around 30% of total food around the globe is getting wasted. So it says that 30% of whatever, like 100 tons if you produce, only for consumers 70 tons is available. So that means 30 tons are getting wasted between the production and reaching the consumers. So that means there is a huge amount of wastage. If you could able to save this, it will enable to support the farmers. Farmers also will get more money. Consumers also will get with the cheaper prices, right? So this has to be eliminated, fine. And for India, annually we are losing 18.5 billion dollars. Between these 2 years we have lost this much amount of it, a huge amount we have lost, right? So this is what the report says. Again, this is also important data. You need to know about the production of food grains, and then horticulture you need to, and how much storage we have, that is also important. And also you need to know that basic definition of post-harvest losses. So that will be sufficient, right? Next one, Sarus crane. Sarus crane. So it is a bird species which is important for our environment, as part of our environment species. So here there was an article in Times of India about some experts have highlighted the agriculture biodiversity. It says that agriculture biodiversity means having a diversified crops or diversified environment. Bio means life, right? And agriculture biodiversity, that means not only wheat, not only rice, we need a diversified agriculture practices. So if we are having diversified agriculture practices, like different crops we are doing, different types of practices like multiple cropping. So if there is a biodiversity within agriculture, it will protect the Sarus crane, which is getting examined. The numbers of Sarus crane was dwindling, right? So if we could able to maintain this agriculture diversity, we can conserve the Sarus crane. That's what the report says, article says, right? Now we need to know about the Sarus crane as well. This is the tallest flying bird. That means it is the tallest bird and is also among the tallest birds. This is the top, and this can fly. Among the birds which can fly, this is the tallest bird, right? Its height is approximately 150 to 156 centimeters. Approximately it is having 5 point something feet, which is a huge. So you can take like this much from ground, right? So this is the tallest birds among the ones which can fly in the sky, right? This lives in Southeast Asia and then North India and then also Northern Australia. So in India you can see this is the world distribution where they are located. In India it is located in the northern part of India. So Eastern Ghats, Western Ghats, southern part of India, it is not present. It is present in the Gangetic Valley. They may ask you in the exam, where can one see the Sarus crane, its natural habitat? So this is the northern part of India and some part of Australia as well as some part of Northeast. So this is present in these regions, right? So that is a very important fact. And the habitat, like how humans live in a good temperature and all, these mainly lives in the wetlands. That means it is not living in the forests. They are living in the wetlands, wherever there is a water, like ponds, lakes, agriculture fields. So all these wetlands are the ones where they live, right? And their weight is approximately 8 kgs, right? 7 to 8 kgs of their weight. That some features also will be asked in the exam, right? And they are regarded as the least social crane species. Among the crane species, these are the least social. That means they don't interact with other species, and within their species itself, they will just make small groups like 3 to 4 cranes and then they roam. They won't interact much with their species or other species as well, right? And conservation status, of course, this is a very important. Under the IUCN list, you can see here the list we have discussed many times. It is listed as vulnerable, and within schedule, the conservation in the schedule, it is conserved under the Schedule 4. Schedule 4 is the one. Now in the Wildlife Protection Act, we have only 4 schedules. Earlier it was 6, but now we have 4. Schedule 1, which is highly protected. Schedule 2, which are normal with the less conservation. Schedule 3 for plant species, and Schedule 4, all those species which are recognized under CITES Convention, CITES International Convention. So it is kept under the Schedule 4 as well as Schedule 1 also, right? So this is also important. Very factual. Any doubts in this? Okay, let's move to the next article, that is Nota. You might have very interestingly followed the news or the related ones to the election results, right? So yesterday there was a result, but yes, we are not worried about those political things. That is not required. We are worried that certain thing has happened. That is, Nota has got 2 lakh plus votes in Parliament constituency, Lok Sabha constituency of Indore. Nota has got more than 2 lakhs. So there was an article that a person who has won, the person name is Shankar Lalwani, has won from Indore, and his nearest rival is not other person, but it is Nota. He has defeated Nota. He has not defeated any person. Rather, the second one in the winning list is of Nota. The Nota got 2,18,674 votes in Indore. So that has become the issue now, right? So nearest competitor is not other person from any party, but rather it is a Nota. Fine. Now what is this Nota? Nota means none of the above options. Earlier, like, we don't have a negative voting. Negative voting means you cannot reject a person. You cannot say that among the given persons, I don't want anyone. So there is no option before 2013. So Nota is a option which will give right to reject the persons, right? So Nota is nothing but a ballot option in the EVM which will give right to reject all the candidates who are contesting in the elections, right? So this is about the Nota definition. So it empowers the electors to have a negative opinions. Also, it has right to reject while maintaining the secrecy. This is also important. See, the presiding officers can know who have voted and who have not voted. Only if you visit the polling station, then only they will tick and they will find out that you have voted. And if you haven't voted, so they will come to know that this person has not voted in the elections. So this may also affect their, like, if some political things locally, there may be some political elements. So that's why if you go, if you don't want to vote, that means you don't want to vote for any of the persons. You can sit in home, but you will be recognized as the person who haven't voted. So if you get an option called as Nota, you can visit the polling station, you can also click on Nota, so you yourself will protect your identity. So they will come to know that you have voted, but they don't know that you have voted to Nota, right? So it is also protecting your secrecy. Meanwhile, you are also getting participate in the voting. So this is the feature of Nota. Now, when and why was Nota option introduced? So it was introduced in 2013, after the recommendation or mandate by the Supreme Court. Earlier, many cases was filed that some people who are not able to vote, who don't want to vote in any of the persons, they are not going to polling stations and the people are identifying and they are affecting their privacy. So that's why a petition was filed, and after Supreme Court mandated Election Commission of India to introduce this Nota option in every constituencies in the coming days. So the Nota was introduced by Election Commission under Conduct of Election Rules 1951. So after Supreme Court judgment, they have Election Commission of India has come forwarded, and through Conduct of Election Rules they have introduced the Nota options, right, in every elections. But for the first time it was introduced in the Assembly elections of 2013 in not all the states but 5 states, that is Chhattisgarh, Mizoram, Rajasthan, Delhi. You don't need to remember, that is not required. Just remember that it was introduced in 2013. That is important. Alright. So it was introduced following the case of PUCL versus Union of India. So People's Union for Civil Liberties has filed a case in Supreme Court that Nota has to be there, negative option should be there. So after listening the case, Supreme Court has mandated to include the Nota, right? So that is the case, and there are certain features of Nota that is also to be known. Impact, like the votes cast through for Nota is considered as invalid votes. That means they are not counted in the giving the final verdict. It is just that you don't want to vote, so that's why they are involved in the invalid votes case. So they are not counted in calculating the majority, right? So even if the Nota has won, for example, Nota has got 1000 votes in that election and the next person has got 900. So Nota cannot be declared as a winner, and then elections no need to be conducted again. So the next person after Nota can be recognized as a winner, right? So there is no valid case for Nota. It is just a right to be given for the individuals to reject, but it has no legal basis. Still there is a fight going on that if there is a Nota domination, then we need to conduct re-election. But as of now, there is no requirement of conducting the re-elections, even if Nota has won the elections, right? Any doubts in this? I hope this is clear. Now let's move to the next article, a very important article. World's largest grain storage plan. World's largest grain storage plan. We have discussed, like in the article which talks about the post-harvest losses, that we are having lack of storage and we have a huge amount of production. So there is a mismatch, right? We have already discussed. The same, like this is also a type of extension, right? National level coordination committee for world's largest grain storage plan has met for the first time in Delhi. So this was already launched in February. Now the first committee meeting has happened recently. So we will discuss what actually this plan and all, right? Let's understand the background, which are also having good amount of data that you can remember for the exam. They will ask you in the exam as well. India holds 11% of total world's cultivation area. That means if 100 hectares are there in the world, out of that 11 hectares are present in India. That means I'm telling you 11% of world area of cultivation we are having in India, right? The total is 16 crore hectares. In India we have total cultivable area of 16 crore hectares. This is also important data. And population, you all know, India is the most populous country and 18% of total population we are having in India. So it is indirectly saying that we are having huge number of people and we are also having huge amount of cultivation area. But what is happening? Total food grains production, we have seen already data, right? The total 311 million metric tons of food grain alone, apart from horticulture. Horticulture again we have 355. So we have a huge amount of production, but only 145 million metric tons of storage. So we are mismatched in terms of having the production as well as in terms of storage. So in this background, the government, there is a shortage of more than 166 million metric tons exclusively for food grains itself. There is a mismatch, right? And other countries is having higher, like most of the countries are having more storage than what they produce because they want to store for any crisis. But India has very less, that we are having only 47% of total production. So if we are having 100 million metric tons of production, only 47%, that is 47 million metric tons of storage. So we need to increase. In this background, understand the initiative. In this background, the government has launched world largest grain storage plan, right? And this is going to be implemented through primary agriculture credit societies. In every state, there are cooperative credit societies like district cooperative credit societies, and then state cooperative bank. We have a state cooperative bank, and for each state there is a number of district cooperative banks, and below them are primary agriculture credit societies. So these are the societies which are present at the village level, and then they give the last minute expenses like loans, small loans for the farmers whenever they require, in terms of storage, in terms of production. So these are the ones at the local level. That's why now government is introducing the grain storage, the storage infrastructure at the village level. At the village bottom level, they are creating the storage capacity, right? They are creating the storage capacities. And primary agriculture societies, we have seen it was first introduced in 1904. This is one important fact to be understood, and the role we have already discussed, right? So the plan is they want to create the storage infrastructure like cold storage infrastructure, transport, all the things for every village they want to create. So there will be a sufficient storage for our grains production. So this is what happening. To implement this, there's a lot of ministries which are going to coordinate, because we need Ministry of Agriculture, we need Ministry of Commerce, we need Ministry of Finance. So a lot of ministries are required in this plan. Ministry of Panchayat also, because at the village level. So they are coordinating with different ministries, and which is headed by Ministry of Cooperation. This is also important. Ministry of Cooperation, under Ministry of Cooperation, all the ministries are coordinating, and they are going to increase the storage capacity at the through the primary agriculture credit societies, right? So this is about the plan. So you need to remember in this who has launched this, right? Under which organization, and the data we have, and you need to know about the primary agriculture credit societies. These are like a cooperative banks at the village level, and first one was launched in 1904. So this plan is also important. Who are implementing is also important for our exam, right? So that is about the world's largest. So this is going to be the world's largest storage plan throughout the world. Fine. Next article, International Health Regulations 2005. I hope that is clear. If you have any doubts, please do let me know. Yeah. International Health Regulations 2005. Right? Why we are discussing this? Because there is a 77th annual World Health Assembly meeting recently happened. Right? Recently happened to amend these things. International Health Regulations 2005 are already existing. These regulations were already existing. To amend this recently, they have been amended recently through 77th Annual World Health Assembly. So recently happened in the Switzerland, right? So recently it has happened in the Switzerland, right? The 77th Annual World Health Assembly has happened. Now, what are these International Health Regulations 2005? We will see what are the amendments made, what are the changes made. But before that, you need to know actually what are International Health Regulations 2005, right? This is a successor agreement of International Sanitary Regulations. In 1951, after World War II, launching United Nations and all, they were already having International Sanitary Regulations. It has replaced this plan in 2005. So this may be also asked in the statement based. So this was replaced this regulations, and for what these regulations are, it is a legally binding. Every country, for example, we have India, we have Pakistan, we have Bangladesh. So if there is a disease, if there is China also there, if there is any disease emerging in China, and it may spread to other countries also. If this China has not taken proper control, this disease may spread to other countries, like how COVID has happened. From China, it has spread to almost all the countries. So all the countries will be impacted in terms of health, in terms of financial things, right? So to contain such type of events, such type of things to be happen, there is an international health regulations which mandate every country, including China, the origin country especially, to mitigate the transfer or spread of disease from one country to other country. So that's why they have launched this, and all the countries of World Health Organization are part of this health regulations. So it is a legal obligation, mandatory for the countries to take measures, right, under these regulations. Now they have made some amendments, changes. So what extra things they have introduced? For this rules of 2005, what they have added, that is also important for us. They have defined the pandemic emergency. What is pandemic emergency itself? They have defined. So they have brought the definition. Without proper definitions, we can't ask the question. We cannot question the countries that you have failed, something like that. So they have defined what actually is a pandemic emergency. So this is a situation where communicable disease means the disease which can spread from one person to other person through contact, right? So it has defined as that communicable disease with a wide geographical spread which can have capacity from shifting one country to other country or transferring from one country to other country. So this is called as a pandemic emergency. So they have added definitions into the International Health Regulations 2005, and also they have created coordinating financial mechanism. You may see this in the exam. They will ask you coordination financial mechanism recently seen in news for what, right? So this is to address the needs of developing countries. The developing countries don't have financial support like Africa and all. So whenever there is a spread of disease, they cannot take measures. So that's why they are establishing a coordinated financial mechanism. A separate monetary things they will keep, and it will help the developing countries whenever there is a requirement, right? Also, state parties committees will be established, and then each country will have a national international health regulations committee as well to take care among the countries, right? So these are the amendments that they have made. I hope this is clear. So you need to know the where it was happened. 77th annual World Health Meeting has happened in Geneva, Switzerland, and for what purpose? To revive the international health regulations. And what are these international health regulations that we have discussed, right? For what purpose and all, and what changes they have made, that also we have discussed. So very important thing. Last article for today. This is a little bit conceptual. Understand this, right? Recently, but very, very important article, especially of economics, you will see a question mandatorily in the next coming exams, whatever exams you write. A very, very important, most important article from today's articles, right? Recently, global purchasing power parities data was released for 2021 by International Comparison Program, covering 176 economies. So this maybe seems to be difficult. So what we need to learn here, we will understand what actually is a purchasing power parity, and then we will see what actually is the International Comparison Program. We will see, compare the countries also, right? You will understand the main thing is you need to understand here purchasing power parity, right? And if you have any doubts in understanding the purchasing power parity, please do let me know in the comment section, right? So let's understand, we will come to this context in detail. Let's understand what actually is a purchasing power parity. Currently, with the market demand, $1 is equal to approximately 75 rupees. So you might be aware, this is the market condition. So for every $1, we need to give 75 rupees for exchange. This is the market. This is based on the market price, like based on the importance of the country, right? So USA is having most important because it is a superpower. So every rupees, currency is converted or compared with the dollar, right? So if Japan is more advanced, they will have more higher value. And if India, as India is a developing country still, so we have a 75 rupees. Based on the importance of that particular country in terms of trade, this is called as a market price, $1 equal to 75 rupees. But one idli or a plate of idli you can take. In India, we are paying only 10 rupees or 20 rupees, right? But they are paying $1 or $2. That means they are paying, like, in terms of rupees, they are paying 100 rupees or 200 rupees. If you ask your friend in USA, what is the cost of one plate idli, you will say it is around $3-4. That means they need to pay 300 or 200, 300 rupees in terms of rupees if we take. So that means in terms of purchasing, there is a difference. Whatever the market demand or market comparison is different. But in terms of purchasing, whatever we are purchasing for 10-20 rupees, they are purchasing it for 300 rupees. So there is a difference, parity among the purchase. So what we need to do now, we will take a bulk of goods. We will take idli, we will take chappal, we will take car, we will take pen. So all the things we will convert in terms of rupees. Like we will take all these goods, a basket of goods are taken and they are converted, how much price we need to spend on purchasing this basket of goods, a bulk of goods. Say for example, it is 10 lakh rupees in India. And then same amount we will take in terms of dollars. So how much dollars the US people need to spend in buying the same basket of goods, whatever we are comparing. Same basket we will take and we will see how many dollars they are purchasing and we will convert in terms of rupees. So it may lead to 30 lakh rupees. 30 lakh rupees. So that means in USA they are spending different. In India we are spending different. We are spending less, they are spending more if we convert into rupees, right? So purchasing power parity is a base or indicator which will estimate the power of people to purchase a single basket of goods. They will compare by taking certain amount of goods. So there is a difference in purchasing power of individuals in one country with the other country when we compare it to the market prices. So market price is different and purchasing power based on the rupee is also different, right? So that is called as the purchasing power parity. Is this clear? Please do respond someone if this is clear, or we will take one more example if you are not clear with, right? So this is used to determine relative value of different currencies, right? In terms of purchasing power, not in terms of trade or importance of the currency. So this is more accurate than what actually about the market price. You may think that sir, why $1 is equal to 75? That is based on the trade, but actually we are paying less. So that means in terms of purchasing we are in a decent position. Is this clear? Anyone? Great, Ramya, thank you. So this is about the purchasing power parity. Now let's see the data given by this report, International Comparison Program. First we will see International Comparison Program, then we will come back to the data. This is a very important, even in civil services they have asked the exam, in the exam, right? So this data annually is given through International Comparison Program. So what are all the countries, what is the difference in terms of purchasing power, all these things are taken and collected and the given in terms of report. This is given by UN Statistical Commission. Under United Nations itself there is a UN Statistical Commission which will give report related to this. So this will compare the people in different countries how they are spending in terms of purchase, right? And with the support of World Bank. International Comparison Program is done under UN Statistical Commission with the help of World Bank, right? The goal is to estimate, to evaluate the purchasing power of the individuals in different countries. That is the objective, right? India has participated in almost all these programs since 1970. India have kept participating it, right? And from the India, Ministry of Statistics and Programming is the implementing agency of this program. So India will give the data to World Bank as well as UN Statistical Commission, and Ministry of Statistics is the responsible organization. Now come to the highlights or data. You all know in terms of GDP calculation, we are having around $3.5 trillion economy. That means how many goods are produced in India, how many goods, how much in terms of money, that is called as GDP. But in terms of purchasing power parity, they will compare between the countries, how much they are spending for basket of goods. So all the basket of goods which are common to all the countries like USA, China and all will be taken. How much Indians are spending? Like 1,000 goods are there, car, pen, everything. How much Indians are spending? Say for example, 1,000 crores. In China, 5,000 crores. In USA, 2,000 crores. So there may be different value in terms of purchasing end. So this is compared, and among the purchasing power parity index, China is the largest country. China with 28.8 trillion. That means the people who are buying the same basket of goods, they are spending 28.8 trillion. So people of China are spending more, right, for that particular basket of goods which we are comparing. Followed by USA. USA is the second position and India is in third position. So India is spending $11 trillion In terms of GDP, we are just 3.5 trillion. But in terms of spending, when compared to the basket of goods, our economy is $11 trillion. So India is in a third rank. But in terms of GDP, India is a fifth largest economy. In terms of GDP, India is fifth largest. But in terms of purchasing power parity, if we compare, that is third rank, right? So that is about the purchasing power parity rankings. Fine. Yeah, moving to the factual pointers now. There are 5-6 factual pointers for us for today, so they are all important. In financial year 2024, right, this year, RBI has moved 100 metric tons of gold from USA. See, RBI always saves, the central bank saves gold, whether in India, either in terms of other countries like in UK, in USA, different banks are there. So wherever it can save, right? Because whenever there is a requirement of taking goods because of COVID, there is an emergency. So we don't have proper money. So in terms of that, we can give gold and we can take goods in those particular countries. So RBI saves gold not only within India but in other country banks also it saves. And from UK, recently they have taken 100 metric tons of gold. They have shifted from UK to India, right? This is what happened. And why they have shifted? Because of volatility. We are not feeling very safe to save there. We want to shift it to the Indian side, right? So we have taken out. Total 822 metric tons of gold is present with RBI. This is a very important data. Total 822 metric tons we have saved within ourselves. And 50% of gold is stored within country and rest of 50% are located in different countries, right? So this is a fact. Next one, CIPRI. It is a private organization, has released multilateral peace operations in 2023, development and trends. So this is a report released by CIPRI, right? Stockholm International for Peace Research Organization, right? So this is the organization which has released this report, and certain data are important for us. It has calculated the deployment of uniform forces to maintain the peace across the world, right? So it has compared, the report compared the operations, the what you call military operations that has been taken place throughout the world. And India has highest contribution in terms of military for UN peacekeeping force. There is a police force for United Nations. Every country has to send, like how we have a different states and different police officers. Same way, every country also contribute for the UN peacekeeping force for maintaining the peace across the world. And India is the largest contributor for that UN peacekeeping force. This is a important data to be remembered, right? And the largest deployment has taken place in Sub-Saharan Africa. So Africa has a Sahara desert. Below that we have Sub-Saharan countries. Largest deployment has taken place in this region. So this is a fact. Next one, Sunkugir volcano. Sunkai. So pronunciation may be different. You can remember the spelling. So it is in the Google. Sunnkagir volcano. So this was recently explored in the Iceland country. So this you have to remember. They will give you this volcano and they will ask you in which place it was erupted. It was in Iceland, right? You can see this image as well. Next one, India has participated in the World Summit. This need to be remembered. World Summit on Information Society. World Summit on Information Society meeting, India has participated. This was recently happened again in Geneva, Switzerland. This was called as Shortcut World Summit on Information Society. This was taken place in Geneva, Switzerland, and recently India has participated it. Alright? And what is this about? It aims to create different stakeholder platform to address issues raised by the information and communication technologies like artificial intelligence, or if there is any communication gap, satellites, anything related to information sharing and communication, this society will take care of all the world countries, right? This was organized annually by International Telecommunication Union, UNESCO and UNDP. Different organizations are there. You just need to know where it has happened, right? And what is the purpose for tackling the transfer of information and communication between the countries. So this is the fact. Next one, Pravaha. ISRO has recently developed Pravaha. The full form is also important. Parallel RAN solver for aerospace vehicle aerothermodynamic analysis software. Pravaha software related to what they will ask. So it is like we need to launch a lot of rockets. So to launch that, there will be air friction in different length of the space, like in the 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers. So there is a different conditions. All those space conditions they have created in the software itself. So we can test in the laboratory itself how it will be impacted, how the rocket which is launched in the space will be affected by the aerodynamics, the impact of wind and all. So all these things they have developed to know what will be the impact on the launch using Pravaha software. And this was created by Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. Right? Vikram Sarabhai Space Center has created this software where they can test the impact of wind on the rocket. Right? Yeah. Next one, PI check project. They will ask you this shortcut itself, you need to remember. This is Phenome India, it is a private organization. CSIR Health Cohort Knowledge Base. Right? These two organizations together have launched PI check project. Right? And what is this purpose? The purpose is to assess risk factors in non-communicable diseases with Indian population. So non-communicable diseases are those which cannot transfer from person to person, like heart attack, diabetes, right? Those are all called as the non-communicable disease. And these disease, how it is impacting the Indian population. To know that, CSIR has launched this project, PI check, right? So this is the objective you need to remember, and who have launched this is also important. Yes, two more facts we have. Global Soil Partnership Assembly. Recently, Global Soil Partnership Assembly has taken place in, I think it's, yes, so it has taken in Italy, Rome. It has taken place in Rome, Italy. Right? So 12th plenary session has happened under Food and Agriculture Organization. So Global Soil Partnership Assembly was conducted by Food and Agriculture Organization, which is under United Nations itself in the Rome, Italy. Right? So this Global Soil Partnership was established in 2012 by FAO. For what purpose? The name itself say, to protect and conserve the soil across the world. So the agenda is to protect the soil, because soil is the most important one which can give the good productivity of agriculture. So this is the fact, right? Last fact for today, a new ant species was discovered in the Siong Valley. The name of ant species is Perpetricina. Perpetricina is a ant species. They will ask you, they will give you this name and they will ask you what is that. It is an ant species. They may also ask you where it was discovered. It was discovered from Siong Valley in Arunachal Pradesh. In Arunachal Pradesh, right? So that is the facts for today. Now let's solve some practice questions. First question. With reference to sickle cell disease, which of the following statements is correct? They are asking about the correct statements about sickle cell. Sickle cell disease is caused by virus. First statement. People with sickle cell disease cannot have children. So this is the second statement, that people with sickle cell disease cannot have the children. It is inherited blood disease that affect how oxygen is carried in the body. So this is the third statement. National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Mission aims to eliminate this disease by 2025. So what is this answer? What is the answer for this? Anyone? First statement is wrong because this is a genome disease, genetic disease, right? So because of some change in the genetics, this happens. So first statement is wrong. People with sickle cell anemia cannot have children. No, this is also wrong. They can have children, they can reproduce the children, but they will have a sickle cell anemia disease, right? So second statement is also wrong. It is inherited blood disease that affects how oxygen is carried in the body. Yes, correct. So that is anemic condition. This is how it occurs, right? And the last option is wrong because it aimed to eliminate by 2047. Yes, correct, Ramya. Very good. So answer is C, and this is also wrong. All these three also wrong. Correct. Next question. Which of the following statements about Nota option used during the elections is correct? So about the Nota, they are asking which statements are correct. If Nota gets majority, then re-election is held in the constituency. So it is saying that if there is a Nota gets more votes, then it will lead to the re-elections in that particular constituency. Second one, before the introduction of Nota, there was no provision for casting negative votes. So before Nota, there is no option to reject the voting. So this is saying the second statement. And the third statement, Nota option is available for only elections related to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies. So this is the third option, third statement. First statement, this is wrong. If Nota gets majority vote, that is not considered. Only the next person who has ever got the votes, so it is declared as a winner. He is declared as a winner. So first statement is wrong. Second statement in both the cases. So yes, before that there is no negative case of voting. So they have to vote for someone, or they no need to vote anyone, right? And the third, Nota option is available only in the elections of Lok Sabha and state assembly. Yes, correct. So Nota option is not available in other elections like Rajya Sabha or local elections, Panchayat and all. So third statement is also correct. Hence answer is C. Next one, with reference to world's largest grain storage plan of cooperative sector, which of the following statements are incorrect, they are saying. Which are incorrect? It aims to create infrastructure facilities related to the agriculture across Indian states on pilot basis. So this seems very generic, and yes, this is correct. It is the initiative of Ministry of Corporate Affairs in coordination with the various ministries. That is the second statement. PACS, Primary Agriculture Credit Societies, will be used as a medium to create the desired infrastructure, right? None of the above statements are incorrect, they are saying. So this statement is also correct. PACS is the one which is taking responsibility, but it is not launched by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It is launched by Ministry of Cooperation, right? So B is wrong, and hence answer is B. Next one, about purchasing power parity. Consider the following statements. Purchasing power parity exchange rates are calculated by comparing the prices of same basket of goods and services in different countries, right? So this is a correct statement. That is what the purchasing power parity. They will take a basket of goods and they will compare the prices in different countries, right? So first statement is wrong, correct. In terms of PPP dollars, India is the 5th largest. This is taken from UPSC Civil Service exam 2019, right? So second statement is wrong because it is not 5th, it is a 3rd rank as of now. Yes, correct. Yes, correct, Ramya, you have answered 3 as B. First statement is correct, second is wrong, and hence answer is A. Last question. Global Soil Partnership Assembly is an initiative of. Global Soil Partnership Assembly is an initiative of United Nations Environment Program, Food and Agriculture Organization, Conservation International, Global Environment Facility. So what is the answer? 4th A, correct, Ramya. This we have seen a direct fact, it is of Food and Agriculture Organization, right? Yes. So that is of today's session. I hope you have enjoyed. So there was a scheduling issue because it was scheduled 6 p.m. first. I hope tomorrow onwards it will be 5 only. There was some mistake in the scheduling, right? I hope you have enjoyed. Have a great evening.